Oh. Well, it looks empty. There's a little bit of wetness down in there. I hope it's empty enough, because I'll be putting some fuel on that thing here fairly soon, I hope. So, guess what it's time for? It's time to try and get the Dune Buggy running. Alright, hey everybody, it's Jeff with Area North 40. Alright, so it's literally less than 48 hours till my wedding to Carly. Carly has been on my case since we got together. She immediately fell in love with this Dune Buggy, and I just keep on putting it off, doing other things, and whatever, excuse after excuse, not getting out here to get it going. And because of that, well, the last time I tried to start this thing up, it would turn over. It kind of sputtered once or twice when I shot some starting fluid down the carburetor, but it just wasn't catching. So basically, I think probably all that I needed to do at that time but didn't do was clean up the points a little bit. Well, here it is. I'm embarrassed to even say how many years later, but just no, it's been years. And well, Carly and I have been together for coming up on 6 years, so it's been close to that long since the last time I messed with this thing. So I know, embarrassing. Anyway, this morning I tried to just see what would happen if I threw a battery in it and hit the key and tried to bump it over. It didn't even click. I could hear a relay, like something was happening, but nothing good was happening. So I tried to turn the motor over manually just by turning one of the pulleys, and that looked something like this. It wouldn't turn. So after that, I put a wrench on it and tried to turn it, and all that happened was that big nut right there got tighter. So you don't want to over tighten that. So anyway, nothing happened. Well, I got the brilliant idea to put it in gear and then kind of rock the car back and forth and see if I could get the transmission to do the dirty work. And after I put it in first gear and that didn't work, then I put it in second gear and that didn't work. And then what I did was it actually was scooching the car forward, and so it was getting kind of close to being right on the butt of the Corvette. So then I put it in reverse to try and scooch it back, and this is pretty much what that looked like. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Okay. So that worked. I got the engine to break free. I mean, I was a little worried it might be seized, but it clearly wasn't completely seized. I just kind of had to break up the whatever was going on in there, whatever was trying to seize. Now, I should probably be smart, pull all the spark plugs out and squirt a bunch of fluid down into the pistons and all that, but I just don't have time. What I am trying to do, like I said, Carly's been bugging me about this thing. It's our wedding in 2 days, and I'm out here secretly working on that. I've actually been out at the venue all day long, and I just got home just a little bit ago, and so I'm secretly trying to see if I can get this thing to fire up. But the next problem that I had was when I put the battery in and a jumper box, I turned the key, still nothing happened even after I got the engine to pop loose. So what I did then is, if you can hopefully see in there, that's where the starter is. I took a wrench and kind of smacked the side of the starter, because believe it or not, smacking a starter sometimes works. It's not usually a good sign that that starter is doing real well, but I got it to kind of pop just a little bit, but it didn't turn the motor over all the way. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm not gonna try and recreate what I was doing there, but what I am gonna do is I'm gonna jack the thing up and pull this tire right here off, and that should give me a little bit better access to that starter. And I'm gonna see if I can you know, get to it and maybe hook up one of those little clicky clack things or whatever. It's not the click clack, what do they call that? I don't know. It's just a little trigger that you can wire up to go directly, bypass the solenoid and all that, and see if I can get the thing to turn over. Now that's just the first part of the battle. I need to be able to get the thing to turn over and crank over solidly. Then I got to see about, you know, the points and fuel. I mean, you know, the fuel pump, who knows if it's gonna pump. You know, when they sit too long, they dry out inside, and it's a little rubber diaphragm in there. So if that rubber dries up, you start pumping it and everything, it will sometimes just crack instead of doing its job. So that's why you shouldn't let cars sit for too long. But anyway, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull this wheel off, and I'm gonna get in there to that starter, see if I can get the thing going, and then I'll catch up with you here in a few moments. Okay, so what we've got here is, well, a starter. Okay, so can you see that? I've got the upper one there connected. This wire right here would be coming from like the key, but like I said, you don't really have to have the key on because we're kind of bypassing all that at the moment. I'm just trying to see if I can get this starter to turn over. So this connected to that, I mean, I could take a screwdriver and just short it from here to there, and that would do the trick, but I'm trying to do it with this button. Now when I push this button, this closes the circuit, and nothing happens. That's supposed to make things happen. I should go like that, and then be going chush and things of that nature. So now, earlier I mentioned that I hit the thing with the hammer. See what happens. Yep, nothing. So I think that the fact that I got it to do something a couple times was just like its last little thread. I'm not really sure why. The funny thing is the starter looks relatively clean, and probably it was a rebuild. I don't see anything but made in Brazil. Yeah, absolutely not an original, because, well, that's just a dead giveaway. When it's made in Brazil, you know that it's an aftermarket, because if it was the real deal, the original thing, it would be made in Germany, right? And it would probably, instead of having whatever that little symbol is there, it would actually have a V and a W in some sort of way, fashion, or form. So I think I might just have a bad starter. You know, I don't know. I could probably fiddle with it a little bit more, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the starter out, see if I can bench test it. Sometimes it's just the solenoid, but take it from me, if you have a bad starter or a bad solenoid, it's almost entirely not worth it, unless you know how to rebuild them yourself. It's not really worth it just to change out the solenoid. I did that one time on my first car, my 76 Nova, when I was 18 years old, and I changed out the solenoid, and it got it to click one more time, and then as it turned out, the starter itself had gone bad. So who knows whether or not the solenoid was bad. But then I had myself a nice shiny new solenoid that was worthless, because when you get your starter, when you get a rebuilt starter, usually it has a new solenoid on it as well. They don't usually separate them like that. So, and the guy at the parts store probably should have told me that. He probably should have said, you know what, you'd be better off just getting the whole starter, because it's going to come with one, and yada yada, live and learn. Anyway, I'm going to get that thing out of there, and you know, I'll bench test it. Probably won't make a difference, and then I'll either see if I can rebuild this one or get a rebuilt one. Like I said, it's probably not really worth even trying to mess with myself. I'll just get a rebuilt one. They're pretty similar to the GM one. Who knows what the price is on them, but I'll get one, put it in here, get this engine turning over, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I've got the starter out right now. Nothing I was doing was getting this thing to work. So I just want to show you what I'm doing right now. It's starting to get dark out here, so let's see if this light will do the trick for us. Basically, I've got my jump box right there. Hello, jump box. And I've got the negative connected to the side of the starter, and I've got the positive connected to one leg of my little starter button, and then the other side to that little tab where the wire from the key would go. All right, and again, this is just to bench test it. It's not under load or anything, but this is what's happening. So as you can see, it's coming out, but it's not spinning. Now I rotated that, and I could feel it felt a little bit sticky, and I could feel that it kind of loosened up as I did it myself a little bit. And if you turn it that way, it actually starts to come out. But anyway, it didn't help. If you look at the lettering on it, I don't know if you can even see that, but it's not rotating at all. So we got a bad starter. That's all I needed, right? So anyway, I have to get that one rebuilt or go up to AutoZone or O'Reilly's and get a new one. I guess they have one at AutoZone, but it's like 150 bucks. Man, I remember when starters were 40 bucks, but I guess for inflation, that's still not that bad. So I just don't have enough time to do what I was gonna do pre-wedding. So I'll get that starter, I'll get it back in there, and we'll go ahead and get the motor cranking over, and then I'll deal with the you know, what I thought was the real problem of getting the points cleaned up a little bit. And so I just don't have time to do it before the wedding. So what you'll see next will be actually after the wedding, and I'll be a married man, so yay for that. So anyway, on to the next part. All right, and there we go. I'm officially a married man. See, there's the ring. Pretty cool, huh? All right, I hope you don't mind that little indulgence there, but it was a beautiful wedding. I loved it. I had such an amazing time. It was absolute chaos right up beforehand, but it all came together, and I couldn't be happier in all things. Happier about the wedding, happy to be married again. Yeah, happy to be married. And so anyway, so back to the Dune Buggy. Alrighty, so what we've got right here, this came today. It's a replacement starter. Alright folks, future Jeff here talking. So right here I'm going over a whole bunch of stuff that really ended up becoming kind of irrelevant, making comparisons to the new starter that turns out I probably didn't even really need. But with that said, I got a new starter, and ultimately when I actually hooked everything up correctly, it worked. So let's just go ahead and skip ahead to where the thing's actually turning, and I actually work on the real problem with the thing, which was the points. And here we go. It's possible, however highly unlikely, that I was doing it wrong. So mistakes were made. It turns out that I may not have even needed a starter, but I'm actually okay with getting the starter because I think that that one was at the very least on its last leg. But what turned out the big issue why I wouldn't even do anything when I'd turn the key or hit the button on that thing is that my battery terminals here were so corroded, not just on here, I'd clean that up, but up in here where that wire is, up inside of there, same with here. So basically I cleaned the terminal posts and the actual battery wire clamp there, and I undid this and cleaned that up, cleaned up this connection for this wire here, which is still barely hanging on, but it's good enough for the moment. But anyway, the long and the short of it is I've got it, so it starts, or well, it turns. So all of that to get to the part that I actually intended on dealing with, because I did not know that it was going to do that. The last time I tried to start this thing, the starter actually wasn't giving me a problem, but you know, it's been sitting for a while, so that happens. Anyway, so right now what I'm going to do is I've got my little bottle here with some gas made from the fine farmers in Iowa, at least partially. And so I'm gonna pour from here down into that little tube right there, and I'm gonna pull this off of here and back dump some directly into the filter and try and get some to go down into the fuel pump, just to kind of prime it a little bit, because it's pretty much empty and there's nothing in the tank right now anyway. I want to see if I can get this thing to pop off before I even put anything into the tank, because I believe that what my issue was is I got to get underneath here and clean up the point. So I'm gonna pop these off of here, pull this off, and you know, just basically the same thing as the battery. I just got to clean the electrical connection inside of here. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna you know, give it a whirl and see if she'll fire off. All right. I'm gonna see if I can find a little piece of emery board or something to file in there. So I don't know if you can see very well, but let's slide this over. So right here, that is the point of contact, aka points. And that little part there, when it pulls away, it causes a little bit of a spark to happen, and that sends it to here. Or well, it gets it from here, sends it to here, and distributes it out to each of these in the correct order. So any spot where you don't have good contact, specifically a spot where it's the main spark, like here, if it's not getting sparked there, then it isn't getting it to here, or in the engine. So that right there is the point of contact that I need to clean up a little bit. Okay, I didn't find my emery board, but I got this little bit of sandpaper here. So I'm just gonna open that thing up and then just kind of sand it down inside of there a little bit. You don't want to be too aggressive with it, because you don't want to wear off actual material. You just want to clean it up a little bit. And you don't want to have the key on when you're doing this, because it'll shock you. Alright, let's see what happens just from that. I'm going to turn the key on now and see if I see a little spark happen. I don't know if it will do it just yet. Hopefully this screwdriver has enough of a insulation it doesn't shock me. No spark yet. I might need to clean it a little bit more, or I might have a different problem. My little condenser here, that could be bad, which I think that might be the problem with my Volvo as well. These points, they don't look that old, but I might need something a little bit more. This is pretty mellow sandpaper. I might need something a little bit more aggressive. All right, so here's the deal. The points, not only did I have to clean them up, but somehow the dwell was wrong or whatever. They weren't even being moved by the little cam inside of there at all. So I adjusted that so they're opening up, and I just cleaned up a couple little contact points. I poured a little bit of gas down into the thing, and then, of course, at that point, the SIM card on my other camera died, so I had to run inside and grab this camera. So here we go. All right, And there we have it. Now I'm going to put some gas up in the actual tank and try and get this thing to run off of its own gas tank. Hopefully the tank isn't too dirty inside. I looked in there, it didn't look great, but I don't have time to try and clean it out perfectly, so it's just going to be what it is. Alright guys, well, success. So that's been kind of enlightening. It's still not running great. It's still, I can't get it to idle just yet, and it's definitely heating up. But what I need to do now, right now, I've got the Corvette in the way, and so I need to get that thing to start. I got to get the back tire back on this thing, remove my little jump trigger or starter trigger, and then I'm gonna see if I can drive this thing down the road, and if I can, all good things. So I'm gonna take a minute. You don't need to watch me put a tire back on and move a different car around. The Corvette will be coming up in another video. I'll be doing a video exclusively on that, but for right now, I will get stuff put back to where I can drive it, and then we'll take it for a quick little drive, I hope. So things are going the way I need them to. Let's keep it up. I know it's not exactly ready for prime time, but it's a driver. Whoop. Ed, did you hear that? Guys, well, I did it. I got her running. It's been way too long. Carly's not exactly happy with the way it is right now because it's still sorry, I didn't grab my mic, so I'm gonna have to just talk loud. Anyway, she wanted it to be like drivable, like drive to the store and back. Well, the electrical I showed you is so messed up, that would not be a possibility. But we made a deal about another project that I'm gonna get, or not project, another thing I'm gonna get, and it was a hard no from her. But when she saw that I was actually finally working on the Dune Buggy, which I wasn't doing it to get this deal, but what I was doing is I wanted to get this thing ready so I could do this out at the wedding. Well, it didn't happen. I just ran out of time, but here we are. It's a few days later, and it works. Unfortunately, right now, it's leaking gas really bad from the tank, so I got to get it back to its spot before I run out of gas here. But I am extremely happy. She's a little less enthused with the whole thing because it wasn't quite what she wanted, but she's happy. And I will be working on this thing and getting the electrical done and getting it so it can be driven on the road legally, safely, maybe as safe as these things can be anyway. And so let me get it back to the house and then I'll close the video out, okay? All right, well, as I said, it's not quite ready for prime time, but it's out of the spot where it was at, and it's moving under its own power, albeit a little bit spotty, but I'm happy. Carly, like I said, she's not quite as happy as I am, but she'll be fine. It'll be fine. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go see if she wants to take the Corvette for a quick little drive, because I had to move it out of the way to make room, and so I'm gonna do that and then take it back. I think I'll park the Corvette where the Dune Buggy was and put the Dune Buggy, well, I don't know. I'm gonna do some musical chairs with my cars, musical cars. So anyway, so that's gonna be it for this video right now. I'm not gonna bother filming the Corvette because, like I said, I'm gonna do an entirely different video on that. Let me know what you think. I mean, was this kind of a pretty fun little, I don't wanna say quick one, but it was like a all of a sudden, hey, let's do this kind of thing. So, got a little bit of a mess to clean up here. Yeah, unfortunately, it started leaking gas right out of the tank. Probably just a rubber hose that got dried out and cracked, so no big deal. I'll get new fuel lines. I need to do that anyway. It's just a good idea. So, but let me know what you think. Give me a thumbs up in the, leave a comment if you want to, share the video, and I hope that you liked the video. I kind of had fun with it. It was a little bit frustrating at a couple points. I probably made a couple mistakes along the way, you know, the whole keep it simple stupid thing, but I did have fun, and hopefully you got something that you're having fun with as well, and we'll see you on the next video. All right, stay tuned.